While every band has their own unique story of their rise to fame, there are a few as truly intriguing as that of Australian rock legends ACDC. Sure, they've created some of the most unforgettable rock anthems in all of music history, but it's when you consider the pitfalls and realities surrounding their existence that they become all the more impressive. Though most think differently, George, Malcolm, and Angus Young were all actually born in Scotland and then moved to Australia with their family in 1963. Most are also unaware that George was the first one to find musical success as part of one of the best bands in the history of Australia, the Easy Beats, best known for their legendary song, Friday on My Mind. Strangely enough, a few years later, Malcolm actually spent time in a band called the Velvet Underground, though they had no relation to the iconic New York City band of the same name. Then, in the early 1970s, Malcolm and Angus began forming a band, taking the name ACDC from their sister's sewing machine where it said alternating current, direct current. On New Year's Eve 1973, an early incarnation of ACDC played Checkers, a popular Sydney nightclub. And as the legend goes, the management was very unhappy due to the band being so loud. In the year following this performance, the band went through a number of lineup changes, but this is also when Angus began to don his now iconic schoolboy uniform. Before arriving at this costume, he went through a number of others, like Superman, dressing as a gorilla, dressing as Zorro, and a number of other interesting choices. But it was in 1974, after a long period of negotiations, that Bon Scott joined the band and became their longtime lead singer. A month later, in only 10 days, the group recorded their first album, High Voltage, and it was only a few months after that that they would release what would become one of their best-known songs, It's a Long Way to the Top If You Want to Rock and Roll. By mid-1976, ACDC was touring all across Europe, opening for bands like Black Sabbath, Aerosmith, Kiss, and a number of others, and then with a retracked worldwide re-release of High Voltage, the band became headliners all across the planet. In 1977, Cliff Williams became their new bassist, and it would be his sound that gave the band a more aggressive approach that defines the band to this day. In 1979, Highway to Hell was released, quickly catapulting the band to the forefront of hard rock, and the band quickly re-entered the studio to record their follow-up album. However, on February 19, 1980, Bon Scott passed away after a night of heavy drinking, though the actual cause of his death remains up to debate. Understandably, the band almost quit then and there, but they all agreed that Bon would have wanted them to carry on. After trying out a number of different singers, the band found Brian Johnson. And while it's almost unthinkable, the truth of the matter is, it was Bon Scott that first talked about what a great singer Brian Johnson was. The sounds and similarities in their voice are uncanny, and he became the perfect fit for ACDC. Within only a few months of Johnson being on board as a part of ACDC, the band recorded their much anticipated follow-up, and it would take on the form of one of the best and biggest selling albums in all of music history, Back in Black. Yielding 5 massively successful singles, the album served as a great tribute to their fallen band member, as well as proof that this band had a lot more to do. Over the past 3 decades, ACDC has released a steady stream of amazing rock and roll, never falling far from the forefront of hard rock. They continue to pack the largest concert venues all across the world, and with their brand of heavy riffs, very suggestive lyrics, and overall unique attitude, there's no arguing that they stand high amongst the greatest rock bands in all of music history. And without their presence and influence, today's music just wouldn't be the same.